Hello, hello, hello. This is Els coming to you today from Bemis Crafty Corner. And today, I have decided that we're going to do something with this. Now, what this is a luggage tag. I got these at a haul, only I don't need this letter. So the first thing that I did was I took the little piece off the top here, like this, just so I had clean tag. Now I didn't want anything to disturb this because I still want to use it as a luggage tag. So what I'm doing is putting some masking tape on the back. This is just low tack masking tape, just to cover up the back of the tag so that I don't get any mess on it. Because I don't care how careful you are. You start painting on stuff, moving stuff around, you will get something on the back. So I'm going to use my trusty razor here to just kind of trim that square. Take that off of there. We'll do this other side. Okay. Now, this is acrylic. It's like a plastic overlay. So I'm not really going to be able to do too much with this because nothing's going to stick. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put a little bit of gesso. And this is just folk art gesso, inexpensive, over the top of this, just to kind of rough it up a little bit. So let's put a little bit of that on there. Now, if you don't have gesso, by all means, just put a couple of layers of like white paint on here. You're not going to get the same grab out of it, but at least you're going to cover this up. I don't want to smush too much paint into that hole there, so. Alright. So now we've got a nice coat of gesso on here. Alright. So, our gesso has dried. And we're going to put some color on this. So I picked out this Craftsmart Bronze. It's a metallic paint. We're just going to put a little bit of it on the tray here. Now, I use plastic containers from the Dollar Tree. So this is a plastic, clear plastic cake plate that I buy, and I think I get like 10 of them for $1, and they last forever. You just wash them off. I'm also going to be using a rag or baby wipe or something, so we're going to get that up here. Okay. Now, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an adjustment. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a stencil pounder here. I'm just going to load that up. And I want to give this some texture with some color. So I'm going to just pounce some paint on here. More paint. Okay, we're back. So I went ahead and brought in my Lazy Susan and just the spool from the inside of some ribbon so I could put this up so I could actually get around the edges here, and then we let this dry. So get out your stays on. Alright, so I'm going to get out my fancy dancy homemade stamp positioner. tape there. Now I'm going to figure out where I want this. I kind of like it there. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up my stamp, get my stays on, and go ahead and ink this up. Please don't wiggle ink. Just tap up and down. And I'm going to take this over and give it a nice firm press. And I'm going to hold it to let the ink move. Nice pressure all the way around, walking my fingers over the image. Let's pick this up. I like it. Now, I want to add a little bit of color to this iris, but I don't want to add a lot of color. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some shades of ink. Now, by all means, you could do this with colored pencils, liquid inks. You could do this with sprays. I'm just going to do it this way. I have here a piece of acetate, a bottle of water, and some ink. And I'm going to need a paintbrush. A very tiny paintbrush. Alright. So I'm going to put some ink down on my acetate. And I'm going to spritz it. Just one little spritz. That's all it takes. And then I'm going to pick up my ink and just begin lightly laying it in. Okay. Okay, you guys see that? Just a little bit of color. That's all I'm doing. Now if my ink starts to dry out, I just spritz it with a little more water. Because I don't really want to color this so much as I want to give it the illusion of color. Okay. Now, I'm going to use purple for the iris itself, and I think I want to use two shades. So let me grab another color here. All right. So, I don't know if you guys can see this, but one of these is more of a red base, and the other one is more of a blue base. So I'm going to put those on there. Little spritz. I'm going to use the blue base. more in the center here. Now, because this color comes out so sheer, you don't really need to worry too much about being able to see the image underneath. You're going to see that because this color is very translucent. Okay. I'm going to pick up that lighter purple, and I'm going to come in and just fill those petals with color. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. Alright. Clean off this brush. Grab a little bit more of that dark, just to kind of go back over my lines again, so that I make them stand out a little bit. We're done with our brush. We are done with our inks. So let's get these all put away. I hate a messy place. Okay. Now, we have that on there. Everything looks good. Here comes that hairspray. Okay, and just give it a few minutes and it will dry, and it's going to protect that. Okay, all right, so we're going to give this a few minutes to dry and we'll be right back. Ha! Did you think I was done? Silly, silly, silly. Okay, so I took the second tag and I put some gesso on it already. It's already dry and ready to go. Now for this one, we're going to do something a little different. On this one, what we're going to do is we're going to just add a layer of paint. And I have picked this Folk Art Metallic Blue Topaz. Little dry paint goober there. Okay, and a paintbrush. And all we're going to do is just paint this. I am going to be using Basics Modeling Paste. It's for use with acrylic paint, and it's by Liquitex. I'm also going to be using a stencil and a palette knife. So go get some tools, and we'll be right back. Close that up. Take my stencil. I'm going to place my stencil on my tag. Put the modeling paste on my palette knife, and just put that on. And it doesn't have to be thick. You just put it on and wipe it off. It's pretty easy. Just gently put it on. fill in the holes, and then just wipe it off. Pick it up, and there you have it. Now I recommend that you kind of knock it off the sides because you don't want it oozing around. But I'm thinking that's pretty close to perfect for me. I have this, which is Deco Arts Metallic. It's this is a dazzling metallic. It's in zinc, and this is an acrylic paint. We're just going to lay that out a little bit. Now, I'm going to be using a fan brush for this. And I just want to put a little bit of paint on the tips of the brush. I'm just going to go back and forth very, very lightly. A little bit of paint, tips of the brush, back and forth, very, very lightly. Alright, so now we've painted this, we've added texture, we've painted the texture. Now, I think we need to go a little further. Is I kind of like this look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of my Duraclear on this, and I keep it in a bottle for this type of an application. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of put some on here. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my scissors. I lost them again. There they are. And I'm just going to start cutting some of this. And laying it on. Let's see how this works. This is either going to be really cool or really bad. So, let's experiment. Okay. I do want to get this as flat as possible. Okay. I'm just going to cut a few more pieces. Just different lengths. That's all really I'm doing. And then we're just going to take these, and again, as flat as we possibly can, and lay them down. And I'm pushing them into the Duraclear. Okay. So once I have them in there, we do want to make sure that they are in there. I'm going to go ahead and add more right over the top. And I'm being pretty generous with this. I really want them to kind of be molded in. So I'm just moving them around a little bit, making sure that they're completely covered and embedded in the Duraclear. How bad can it turn out, right? Alright, so this is what our second tag is looking like. Guaranteed nobody else is going to have this tag at the airport. Alright, so we have that in there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside with the other one to dry. Turned out. Now this is the one we did with the iris, and I added some little bling here at the bottom, and then one of those cabochons here to magnify the word journey. And you can just see that our ink painting here is all pulled in. And then this one, let me get this tag on here. We just fit that through. Get it. This one, we went ahead and I added some candy dots here. And you can see we've got our texture in the background here where we added that little bit of paint just to bring it up. And then our trim that we laid over the top, and I just trimmed it off along the edge here. But until next time, guys, do me a favor. Subscribe, like me, ring my bell, spread me around the internet, and share me with your friends. And until then, bye-bye.